Okay. Folks, go ahead and if you want to mute your line, that would be really appreciated. It's *6, *6 to mute your line, and then *7 to unmute your line. We'll have 2 opportunities today for a question-answer period. But if folks want to go ahead and mute their line, *6, and then *7 to unmute your line. And I'll go ahead and remind you to unmute when the question-answer time comes. Looks like we have most of our registered folks coming on board. We're going to wait 1 more minute for participants to hop on the call. It'll leave that slide up there. I'll remind folks that it's *6 to mute your line and then *7 to unmute your line. Please feel free. This is really meant to be, it's pretty, webinars and technology are a great, beautiful thing when you're trying to do statewide trainings for people in multiple locations. What they're not the best at is seeing you and being able to see you raise your hands for a question. So make sure that you put that *7 to unmute your line on a sticky note somewhere. And if you have a question, go ahead and write it down for that question and answer period. Or if you feel that we need to be interrupted, please let me know, and then I can also let you know if that question is going to be answered later in the call. Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started here. Welcome to the Montana Gives first training webinar for nonprofits that are thinking of or who have registered for Montana Gives. We're going to just do a few housekeeping slides here. My name is Jennifer Gursky. I'm the program officer at Montana Community Foundation, and I am running the statewide effort to bring Give Local, which we have branded as Montana Gives, to communities in Montana. You are probably on this phone call because somebody has stepped up to the plate to say Montana Gives is a valuable program that we want to give to our community. So thank you for all of our community conveners out there, our local community foundations and our nonprofit partnerships and associations that have stepped up to the plate to bring an opportunity to bring philanthropy to your community through this way. A housekeeping slide. Again, I've been saying this, but just keep this on a sticky note near you. *6 to mute your line, *7 to unmute your line. We're going to have 2 parts, 2 sections during this webinar for question and answer time. There's also a chat function on the left, as you'll see in your screen. You can type out a question to me. If it's not in that question and answer time and you want to pop that question into, I can see that as I'm facilitating this call. Also, I wanted to let you all know that the call is being recorded. It will be posted as a training webinar, so if folks weren't able to make today, they can absolutely access some of the training slides that we'll be going through today. Okay, with that, let's go ahead and get started. So Montana Gives is a statewide event led by the Montana Community Foundation and hosted by local community conveners. A community convener could be a nonprofit association like we have in the Bitterroot, United Way like we have in Great Falls, or your local community foundation. Montana Gives Day is Tuesday, May 3rd. So we're about 8 weeks out now. And it's one day that we can come together. I participated as a nonprofit. My last hat was as a development director at the Helena Food Share, which is like our local food pantry, food bank. As a participating nonprofit, it was an incredible program to be able to give our existing donors one more platform where they can join our effort and join our journey. It was also incredible because I think we captured by using and integrating a multi-channel approach through Facebook, through newsletters, and really pushing out. We saw about a 13 to 15% new donors come through the door in our last Give Local effort at the nonprofit that I was working at. I think May 3rd is an opportunity where we get to say to folks who think philanthropists are people like Bill Gates that we can all be philanthropists. It takes a $10 gift, minimum gift, to participate on Montana Gives Day. And really, as we know as nonprofit professionals, that asking somebody to give money is asking somebody to join our mission. It's a way to celebrate giving and raise awareness of our local nonprofits and really the critical work that we're doing in our communities. Every donation on MontanaGives.org is eligible for incentive and prize funds, and I will explain what that means later. As I said, I really want to drill home that Tuesday, May 3rd is Montana Gives Day. It's a 24-hour program. And, you know, last year there were 4 communities that really knocked it out of the park as far as participating in Give Local, which is the national umbrella program that Montana Gives Day is part of. That was Missoula, Helena, Bozeman, and the Flathead. Last year they raised a little over $640,000 between those 4 communities in a 24-hour period. This year, our goal is $1 million for Montana, and we now have 12 communities participating in this 24-hour period. So Montana Community Foundation's role, last year, Montana Community Foundation gave grants to communities that wanted to start this program, localized philanthropy being one of our core philosophies. It's the philosophy and the motivation of the Montana Community Foundation to engage philanthropy in local communities. So Montana Community Foundation has coordinated community conveners, many of whom have asked you to the call today, who have raised leaders in their community and said, we want to bring this program with the Montana Community Foundation, really doing some of that background work, some of that administrative work to our local communities. We have raised sponsorship dollars. There are statewide sponsorship dollars that have funded our incentive funds. So when I speak about incentive funds and nonprofit prize funds, that's going to be how many donors. Maybe we have a prize that says organizations of this size, who won, how many donors gave during the 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock p.m. hour, right? So there will be opportunities that day. We'll post those prize opportunities next week. And you can identify those as you go through your organizational goals and determine which prizes you want to go after. Some of them will be just $100 prize, random, allocated, congratulations, you participated, and some of them will be larger based upon our sponsors' desires and needs to really travel that path of getting philanthropic dollars in your community. Montana Community Foundation has underwritten the online giving platform, so as we navigate the MontanaGives.org website today, that is something that the Montana Community Foundation has funded as part of our program arm of our Community Foundation, and we're working with our statewide media partners to generate awareness in our communities. What is a community convener? A community convener are the folks that invited you to this call today and are inviting you to participate. Many of our community conveners are local community foundations, or they're a leading nonprofit like your local nonprofit association or partnership, or maybe a local United Way that are bringing Montana Gives, an arm of Give Local America program, to your community, again, to make philanthropy accessible to folks in your community. So it's really a program that's designed for existing donors and giving a new platform through the online donations, and also to capture some of those new donors that might not know about you. We'll go over how that happens. A community convener organizes all of your localized events. So some of our communities are planning day of events, which will be like celebration days on May 3rd. It might be at a local coffee shop. It might be at a local business that gives a raffle. We have some communities doing a raffle, some communities doing day of prizes. Some of our community conveners have raised their own incentive monies and are adding to that pool of prize money that nonprofits can earn throughout the day. So the benefits of nonprofits to participate is that we raise awareness, we raise the friends, the folks that are connected to our nonprofits, we absolutely fundraise, and we capacity build. So how do those things happen? So a lot of times, as a former development director, I will say sometimes when we say our fundraising is a flop, we call it friend-raising, and that's really not the goal here. Our goal here really is to increase that capacity to build awareness of who you are. How the site works, and we'll go to that site in just a moment, but how the site works is that you will be listed within a community. So let's say you're a nonprofit in the Bitterroot. You will be listed on the Bitterroot's page. But also, when you go to that registration site and say that you're you're a nonprofit, let's say you are a food bank or a food pantry, you're a nonprofit that works in human services. So donors can go to that site and say, I know that I want my dollars to stay in the Bitterroot, but they also get to see all the other nonprofits that they might not have known about, right? So if I'm a philanthropically minded donor and I go to the Bitterroot and I look at organization A and I'm like, I don't even know who they are, that's why filling out your profile, giving your mission, what does $25 do for your organization? Talk to me as a donor. Really think of the donor's eyes when you're filling out your profile, because that friend raising, that awareness building, that is also part of this program. The capacity building is also a great thing. Montana Community Foundation, as part of our role, will check 501c3 public charity status. We will help you walk through how to load your files online. We will walk you through examples of donor acknowledgments. Really, we are here, and your community convener is there to help you be successful to meet the goals that you've identified for this day. So in this call, we're also going to talk about what it means to be successful. And our organizations are all the way from, a $10,000 annual operating budget with no staff and a couple of board members who really believe in their project, to multi-million-dollar nonprofits that serve this on the statewide basis, right? So determining success for your organization really means who is your organization, who's supporting your organization, and what goals do you want to accomplish for that day. It's activating your supporters and your donors for that day, and it's also training us to use that multi-channel approach, right? So Facebook, online newsletters, constant contact or email blasts, paper, postcards, really learning how to build a campaign around one thing and using a lot of different mechanisms to be able to communicate with our donors and allow them the invitation to join us. So we're going to pop over to the website now. I'm going to kind of just show a little bit how to navigate that. I'm going to show you the registration, go over some of the things that I'm noticing on my end, what might hinder your registration from coming to my site. So this is the MontanaGives website. On this website, you're going to find a lot of information that if you do not find enough information here, you can always contact me, which is down here. My email is jenniferg@mtcf.org. That's also in the last slide, and you can have that as a resource, or contact your community convener. Up here at the toolbars, and I know that this website lags a little bit on your side, so I'm trying to go slow here. I think the most important components up here right now in this stage are going to be that FAQ page and the toolkit page. So we're going to go to the FAQ page real quick and just kind of show you how it's organized. So the top is centered around the donor, right? So the top is if one of your donors wants to go here and get information, that's immediately what they see. I'm going to make the convener and the nonprofit dig a little bit and go further on down. So if you have questions as a participating nonprofit, this FAQ page will be really helpful to you. There's a lot of links here. Community conveners have their own page, and in about a week I'm going to bring this down so we can get our leaderboards up. Our leaderboards here are all of the participating organizations. They will be organized by communities in our leaderboards, so you can really see how, A, you are doing on your incentive and your prize money, but really how your community is doing. The next thing I wanted to show you on the website is this toolkit page. As a nonprofit, I want you to know that you are not alone in being successful today. The Montana Community Foundation and your community conveners are here to help you be successful. One of the things that I wanted to show you is this right here, getting started as a participating nonprofit. When you click on here, this will bring you to a PDF. The two things, these 4 things up here are really important. The important dates for Montana Gives participants. For this, these are the dates that you're going to want to need to know. You have to be signed up and finished with your profile page by Wednesday, March 30th. I'm going to go ahead and repeat that. Wednesday, March 30th is the last day not only to create a profile page if you'd like to participate, but it's also the last day that you can edit. So this whole month, you can go in and out of your profile page and edit, change your pictures, tweak that, what $25 will do for your community. You also will get a unique URL that you can send out in donor communications. Which brings me up to this toolkit here, the Nonprofit Marketing and Communications Toolkit. This is about a 10-page document that will run you through everything that has to do. There's a 1-page fact sheet that you can then tweak some of that to do unique messaging for your organization. There's social media tips, the top 10 tips to engaging your audience on Facebook. There's language in here for email with your donors. There's language in here for a press release. The one thing I wanted to highlight was what I'm showing right now is called the Unselfie Project. This is a great way to start your Facebook and your email campaigns. So as you'll see here, the unselfie, the selfie in the last 5 or 6 years, it started with the millennials, but everybody's taking a selfie now, right? So this unselfie movement started in what we would call Giving Day programs, right? There's a couple of other days across the nation that use Giving Days to really catalyze online donors. The Unselfie Project is talking about what did you do to give today, right? And so putting it into a context for Give Local, the sign, and I'll show you where it is on the toolkit, but I give local because really asking donors, or maybe your nonprofit board members or your nonprofit staff, or maybe you have some friends that you can send it, have them take the unselfie. And here Jenny Liu, who is a Montana community staff member, I give local because it benefits our community, right? She looks great, she looks happy, she's ready to be a spokesperson for your organization. And this is what a Facebook posting of that would look like. This is a fantastic program to get started and go out and take about 15 pictures and start loading those so you can build your Facebook campaign. So there's lots of tools in this media and communications toolkit, and I invite you to peruse it. And that can be found under the Getting Started as a participating nonprofit. That selfie, I'm going to go ahead and scroll down here. That unselfie caption poster is found right here under the social media link. Go ahead and click on the unselfie caption poster, and that's a PDF. And you can just print that out, hand that, let folks self-identify why they're giving local today. So the last thing I wanted to show you under the toolkit is this nonprofit 8-week campaign checklist. So if you click on here, this is we're going to go over this later in the call, but this is your 8-week, this week is week 8. So here are 4 things that you can do to get started. Again, this is a suggestion. This comes from toolkits where I have researched from around and trying to really synthesize that into a Montana context. And again, where you can find that is under this toolkit page right here and under these tools that are hyperlinked. The last thing under these toolkits are all the webinars and the dates that we will have for you. So the next one that comes up is actually our Give Local America partner is sponsoring a social media one. And then I will be leading one on March 24th about that 8-week checklist and talking about how ideas to get that checklist filled in. The last thing I wanted to show you on the website today is how to register. I know that about half of us on the call today have not registered. So there's a register today up here on the toolbar. You can click here. You can also see on your community, when you browse by community, and let's go ahead and let's go to Miles City today. Miles City nonprofits are here. This Montana Gives registration to register underneath your community is here. All of them go to the same place, so you can access the registration page in all of those places. There's a few things. This registration page is pretty self-explanatory, but I did want to go through it and just talk about some of the hiccups that we've been having. First, to participate in Montana Gives as an organization that will be collecting money, you have to be a 501c3 nonprofit public charity. So your status has to be 501c3 PC. And we will verify that with GuideStar and the IRS. So that's kind of the technical legal component. Technical IT component, please read this here. Files, when you go to upload your files, need to be supported or they all bounce out. So the platform is built in a way that if you are trying to load an Excel document, then it's going to bounce it. So what I'm hoping for you to do down here, after you fill this up, see where it says this logo, choose file? You're going to want to be able to create, just pay attention right here, that JPEG, a PNG, or a GIF. Those are all picture files. Down here where I'm asking you for your IRS determination letter or your MOU between you and your fiscal sponsor and a current board roster, those need to be PDFs. They can be JPEGs if you want to go ahead and save that file as a picture, but I'm finding the most success are with people that load those up with PDFs. So that was a little bit of housekeeping for this page. If you're having problems with this page, please write down my contact information at the end of this webinar, and we can work on this together over the phone or online. Main things that I want you as a nonprofit to pay attention to is a lot of you will have your mission. You had to have it in order to fill out your 501c3 with the IRS. But also be thinking about this is the thing that populates your profile. So all of the words you put in here in these fields are going to show up on your profile. So think about what that looks like for a donor. Does your mission make sense? Does this area right here with what does a $25 gift do, does that make sense, right? Like if I am running a shelter for children, tell me that $25 buys a week worth of dinners, or tell me exactly tangibly what my $25 can do for your organization. That's a way that we can start really connecting with our donors and inviting them to our mission. The last part of this registration page down here are some acknowledgments, right? Some of them are pretty important. We really want your board members to be on board with doing this day. Ask them to give. Ask them to get online. There is a $50 registration fee for nonprofits. There is also a fee waiver form that you can fill out if that is inhibitive to your organization. Some of these are legal understandings, and some of them are just best practices. Like in order to do an online giving campaign, you should probably think about starting your Facebook page and starting that audience. Okay, so that is that's the website, and I'm going to open it up for a couple of minutes of questions to see if there are any questions. Remember to unmute your line as *7 right now. If there's questions about toolkits that you can access or this registration page, I'm going to open that up for questions. Any questions?
I have a question.
Sure.
This is Christina from the Miles City Community Orchestra. Our nonprofit address is somebody's home, and that's going to be on a public profile. Does that mean any phone number that we put on will be on a public profile?
That's a really good question. So let me go up here and show you what a profile looks like. So we'll go ahead and go into Miles City here. So you can ask me, I control that data in the background, so I need that address in order to send your checks to, but you can also shoot me an email, Christina, that says, hey, I'd really like to take that address down or that phone call or that phone number down. So let's go ahead and go into Deep. Deep here has a profile. You can see where that logo, when you get on that registration page, and let me go ahead and show you where this is populated. So in here, you'll see this is where you put your logo in. Mm-hmm. On this page, this is where it's populated. Then your mission, right? Then you're going to say, what does a $25 gift do for you? Here's that address and phone number that you've chatted about. I don't know what information right now, Christina, you're sending out to your donors as far as where they can send. It will be public unless you guys want a P.O. box or something starting with that. I can certainly take that down, though, for your profile. You just have to email me.
I think we'll just talk to our treasurer and decide how she wants
Great.
that to go. Because I'm sure she doesn't mind people sending her information and money, but I know she probably doesn't
Right.
want people calling her. So.
Right, and that would be okay. We could probably even do an address and no phone number. That's fine as well. And we can just link this with your website, an email, or your Facebook. So all that your Facebook tokens, which actually Steve doesn't have yet. So let's go into Miles City Area Community Foundation. Right there is where you'll link it and it'll click it. So there's different ways that you can link how to contact your organization as well.
Okay, good.
Other questions for the registration or your profile page? Great. Any questions about the toolkits or questions about how to access those? Okay, I'm going to go back to those slides then. Okay, so one of the first things that we're going to do as we start building our day for success is acknowledge that it's really a community program. You really, within your nonprofit, within your community, it really is high tide floats all boats. The more we work together, the more we can accomplish. So even within your organization, establishing a leadership team, maybe 2 or 3 people on your board. If you're a non-staffed organization, identify some of your board members that really want to meet, like maybe every other week to chat about this, who have some time as it nears like the week of to really be on Facebook, to really engaging with your donors. If you're a larger organization, I really suggest that you establish a staff person or a lead volunteer to be able to direct this program. I would assign that person to be your captain. Again, this can be your volunteer, but you want somebody to be able to keep all the paperwork in order, make sure that all your Facebook posts, your email blasts, your communications, everything that's going out looks similar to one another. While you want lots of people to be participating, you want them all to be rowing the boat in the right direction, which often takes a captain. So you'll want to put one person in charge of your Give Local program, your Montana Gives program. Captains become your Montana Gives committee. You can use an existing board committee. Think a lot of us are either in the middle of our fiscal year or we wrapped out a calendar fiscal year. That finance committee, a communications committee, find folks that this really jives with what they can bring to your organization. If it's not a board member, find a volunteer who adores your organization, really lines up with your mission. This person helps your campaign keep organized. I would create a job description. That can be as little as like 4 bullet points of Sally does this, this, and this. Sally does make sure that she finds a volunteer for Facebook, make sure that she finds the business for the day of celebration, and make sure that she writes our thank you notes, right? So go through that checklist. One of the best things about charging somebody just to organize it is that that's their job, right? Like their job is not to do all the work, but more or less to organize all of the work. My second suggestion for nonprofit success is to recruit ambassadors. So these are your rock star volunteers. These are your folks that come and clean out your kennels if you're a humane society. These are the folks that are volunteering in your pantries if you're a food bank. These are the folks that are doing feeding your after-school programs for your childhood development. These are the folks that are with you already, right? These ambassadors are great promoters. Most of them are probably already donors. And could they be engaged to invite others to become peer-to-peer fundraisers, right? I think and I would ask ambassadors as a team and give these 3 roles to them. Maybe it's a team of 5. Maybe if you're a larger organization, it's a team of 20. These are the folks that you're going to say, hey, when I post on Facebook that unselfie, will you share it and write like, hey, this is why Give Local is important to me, or this is why the Humane Society of blank organization is important to me, right? These are the folks that are going to be public ambassadors for your organization through online fundraising and your social media. I would come up with a job description for them too, and we'll go over some of those, and I will also post online under those toolkits examples of job descriptions and your board Montana Gives menu. Those are not there yet. They will be there probably by the middle of next week. So when I refer to those, know that those are just examples. You know your volunteers and your organization's supporters best. Montana Gives is a great way to start some house cleaning, some organizational house cleaning. Build and update your database. When was the last time that you cleaned out your email database of bounced emails? In your nonprofit donor link, so all of you will receive a dynamic donor link that will give you your donors for the day in a real-time way. You'll be receiving that probably about the 3rd week of April, between the 18th and 22nd. So you'll want to know that donors need to give an email. An email is how they receive their initial tax receipt and their initial thank you. They will also have to give their address and all of that component for you to be able to acknowledge them as the nonprofit. This is a great way to build your database with folks. If they donated on this day, they saw enough within your mission that they said, I want to be part of this, and they're going to partner with you with their generous dollars. Ask your staff, ask your board members, ask your volunteers, your donors. Get folks added to that contact list in the emails. Now, the other thing is ask folks to like your Facebook page. The more folks that like your Facebook page and interact with your Facebook page, and we'll be doing a social media 101 later, but the more that then lands in your friends and your fans' Facebook feed. So all of you that are looking at Facebook, you're thinking, how do I get these people's information? It has to do with how much participation and interaction you're having with those Facebook posts. So get folks to like your page. Start them now interacting on your page around your mission. Don't just load Give Local things, but load things about what you're doing and why your organization is important to your community. I think I just basically covered this. Ask your Facebook friends to invite their friends to like your page. Create a Facebook event. That is a great way to invite folks to attend. It's an online event, and you can post reminders in there. Add Facebook and Twitter account links to your email signatures. Add the Give Local or your Montana Gives profile page to your email signature. Make sure that all online communications are giving opportunity for folks to learn about today and to engage with your organization on this one day of giving. The next thing that I kind of wanted to chat about is how you establish goals. So I think it's great when we all get in a boat and start rowing, but if we don't know what we're rowing to, we're just kind of wading in the water, right? So there's 2 aspects of the goal setting that you can take aim at. One is how many dollars have been raised and how many donors do you have participated. So set reasonable and attainable goals. If your organization is a smaller organization that has a $10,000 annual budget with no staff, don't set $1 million as your goal, right? Now, on the other hand, if you're an organization that has a $10 million operating budget, don't set $1,000 as your goal. Be thinking, and we'll go over this in the next couple of slides, but be thinking about who your donors are, right? How many donors do you have? How many donors have ever given to you online? How many Facebook fans do you have? What is your average individual donation? What's the average individual donation for people that give to you online? Have you ever had online donors before? So remember that this is for some of you, this is a brand new program. You're going to want to establish attainable goals, mostly because you want the folks that help you accomplish those goals to be able to celebrate with you, and you want to be able to attain them. You also have communication goals and then fundraising goals, right? So your other ones were how many donors do you have? What's a great donor to add? But think about also how many emails do you want to send? How many interactions do you want to have on Facebook? What's going to be the frequency of your emails? How many donors in your current donor database do you want to give, right? Do you want 5% of your list of 200 donors to give? Do you want 10%? What if you offered this opportunity to lapsed donors that may have not given to you last year, but they've given to you in prior years? Did you lose their contact information? Did they go checklist? Do they only have debit cards and they're ready to give online, and this might be your one online platform? Be thinking about your donor, your fundraising, and your communication goals as you set out your goals. Many of us are familiar with the gift chart or a donor pyramid, or this would be a campaign chart. I have another example for a smaller organization, but if you're a larger organization with an annual budget greater than $100,000, let's say you do like a $300,000 to $400,000, this is how I suggest building your gift chart and your goals for that day. This is how you build your donor and your fund goals, right? So your goal down here is a $6,000 goal. It really means that, and anybody who's done any work in fundraising can know that really it's at least the rule of 50%. Here I've done 25%. 25% of the folks that you ask are going to give, right? So over here, that total number of prospects, that's why you see everything's multiplied by 4. If you want one gift of $1,000, you should probably ask 4 people, because we know that we're going to get no's. Again, these slides in this presentation are going to be made available so you can look back on this, but for those who are trying to sort what an online fundraising campaign might look like, these are some really good starts. If your annual budget is less than $100,000, again, it starts with the goal that you want to do. Some of you have listed $500 as your goal. Some of you have listed $5,000 as your goal. Great. Great. Invite people to join you with that. But know that some of how you work a campaign is pure dedication, and it's actually science, right? So fundraising is best practices plus best practices plus best practices equals success. So here you can see that I need at least 100 donations to meet that $2,500 goal. Here's what my plan is. I'm going to ask 20 people to do $100 so that I can get to that $500 mark. But all of this is accomplishable. You just have to make sure that it lines up with what your organization looks like, whether it's $500 or $5,000. Online fundraising is no different than the best practices of one-on-one asked fundraising, right? What we know is that 96% of Americans give, right? We're a charitable nation. Givers give. The other thing to keep in mind of that is the most likely donors that you're going to have for this day are your already existing donors. Now, some of you have probably read the fact sheet of why Montana Gives makes sense for your organization. Nationally, we did see a 20% increase of brand new donors who had never given before to organizations. That's still 20%. 80% of your donors are going to be people that you've already built relationship with. Provide the specific need. Again, I will remind you about this $25 question on the website. Talk about what $25 do. What will $25 do for the Miles City Symphony, right? What does it do? Does it buy sheet music? Does this help you? This buys 1/4 of a weekend performance. What does it do? Does $25 buy 20 pounds of dog food for your kennels? What does $25 do? Get that from me as a donor. Be specific so I can have a tangible link to what my donation does for your organization. And then please remember to thank your donors. 80% of them are going to be very dedicated and have already donated to your organization. but donors are the reason that we can do what we do. They make the capacity for how we can fulfill our mission. Remember to thank your donors prior, during May 3rd, and absolutely after. Givers give. Make sure that your ask is tangible, and thank your donors. 3 best practices for fundraising, whether it's online or not. Okay, so right now I'm going to open it up for questions about setting goals for your organization. Remember that *7 unmutes your line. Okay. Again, remember that your community conveners and also maybe some of the folks that are online today are in your community and you know, and as folks register, make sure that you're having some of these meetings. None of us are silent, none of us are siloed rather. Be talking to other people about what their goals are. It really helps anecdotally to be speaking with other people in the field and saying, hey, how did you do this? Remember, my phone is available, your conveners, and other nonprofits. And I might hear somebody trying to ask a question.
Be able to set up monthly donors?
Say it one more time.
Oh, can you hear me?
Oh, I can hear you now.
Cool. I was wondering about monthly donors. Since this is through the website, will we be able to set up monthly donors through our own systems, or is that something it'll just be one-time donations?
Sure, great question. So Kimbia, who is the platform that we have gone with, does not hook up to any other system that you will be able to create monthly donors from within. That said, these are great, great, great donors to be asking to become monthly donors, and that would be a really great follow-up ask. I mean, we know as fundraising professionals that we need to be asking 4 to 7 times within a year. Great follow-up ask, especially for some of these donors that have given you $10 to, like $40 or $50. Those are great asks to become monthly donors. But the answer is this is only for one-time donations. You will also capture all of that donor data, including their email, and you'll be able to probably move them into a more sustaining gift in the future. Great question. Other questions? Okay. I'm going to go ahead and move on. We have about 20 minutes left in our hour, and I wanted to chat a little bit about really talking about your communications plan. So you've set your goals, you've set your monetary goals, you know that 100 donors are going to create $1,000 for you on the day of, and now how do you communicate, right? So the best way to communicate is not through one channel, right? Like we don't want to only use email. We don't want to only use Facebook. We don't want to only use the phone. We're going to use our websites, newsletters, blogs, emails, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Some of you are creating community media programs with your local radio and your local newspaper. We want to make sure we know that it takes about 7 times for a message to hit that we internalize it, right? We want to make sure that our donors are getting hit about 7 times with an opportunity to join us on May 3rd. The Nonprofit Marketing and Communications Toolkit is going to give you tons of verbiage and tools to be able to create some of these messages. The Montana Give logos are online. It's under the website that we perused just a few minutes ago. There's 3 versions of email copy. There's a press release. There will be created Facebook memes. And for those of you that might not know, those are the pictures that show up in your Facebook feed that you can use right out. All you have to do is copy and paste them into Facebook. There's an example of how to create your email signature. There's social media messaging. There's the Unselfie project. And then there's the fact sheet, so for you to be able to create your own messaging. I really suggest that after this phone call is finished that all of you go and print out that Montana Gives Day Communications Toolkit underneath the toolkit on the page for nonprofits. It is packed full with some great starting messaging. You will also be able, under the toolkit page, to sign up for future webinars. There are 3 future webinars that MCF, Montana Community Foundation, is hosting, and then one that I put up there that Give Local America is hosting. You will be able to find all the Montana Gives logos. You will be able to find profile pictures with the Montana Gives logos, Facebook cover photos, the communications toolkit, and what we're going to go over next is the week work plan example. So the next few slides, I am going to show you where this is. So online, if you go to this toolkits page, and what I've done is broken these all out on slides, but I want you to know that was really quick. Let me go to try that again. You're going to toolkits. Under Getting Started as a participating nonprofit, you're going to click on this 8-week campaign checklist. Go ahead and print that out. This is going to be your 8-week work schedule. You can assign who. Remember, you have a captain and some ambassadors. Maybe you have some volunteers on your board. You're going to talk about when that's due, and you're going to check off if it's complete. This will help you organize your campaign and make it seem like it's not too big, right? So in 1 week, you just need to draft your newsletter, familiarize yourself with the communications toolkit, and then go ahead and add an email signature, right? So this is all very, very doable. So starting this week, I would make sure that you have communicated with your board members. Do your board members know about Montana Gives? Do they know, have you shared with them the fact sheet underneath the nonprofit toolkit? Have you shared with them what it can do for your community and what it can do for your organization? I would start identifying the universe of donors. And when I say universe, that is a specific group of people. Start thinking about those questions that we asked. Do you have online giving capability? What donors in your database have traditionally given online? Focus on those folks first. Do you have online donating? If you don't have online donating, how are you going to communicate with your donors? Which donors are you going to ask? Is it going to be through a newsletter? Is it going to be through a paper appeal? Are you going to ask them to like Facebook and get them through Facebook? So start this week thinking, who are the folks that I most want to invite into May 3rd? Create that master list. So go to that toolkit and create that master list of dates and who, right? So start assigning. Maybe your ambassador committee has a communications person on it and has a nonprofit relations person on it and maybe has the fundraising thank you letter person, right? Write those names on there and talk about the dates, and then have your captain make sure that they do check-in calls. Next week, I would start drafting and finalizing the email and the letter asking folks to join you. Create your donor outreach strategy. Start posting about Montana Gives. The first time that people hear about Montana Gives, you should not be asking for money. Start talking about the program and why it's important for your organization. Start talking about what your organization does and why donors are so important to your vitality. Week 6. Make sure that you're in that nonprofit communications toolkit. I cannot impress this enough. This is really an online platform. A lot of these strategies are going to be online based, and that toolkit is going to give you a lot of resource to be able to be successful in that. Add a Montana Gives logo and link signature to your email. Draft your e-newsletter or email blast. Post on Facebook twice this week. The next week, get your ambassadors together. Meet to share your plan. Add the Montana Gives graphics to Facebook. Start the Unselfie project. Take 10 or 15 pictures and get those preloaded on your Facebook site. Share the Montana Gives menu. Again, that will be up next week under the toolkit with your board. This will be things like I dedicate to share 10 posts during this month. I dedicate to donate. I dedicate to invite 5 of my friends to participate. Week 4, develop your acknowledgement and your thank you strategies. For us that are working in small organizations, and oftentimes we have this experience with larger organizations, it becomes the day of and you just want to sigh a breath of relief on March 4th, right? be thinking about how you're going to thank donors so you don't have to do it in your, oh, I just accomplished so much and this is the last thing. Really be thinking about how you can wrap up some of this campaign the week before, in the weeks leading up to May 3rd, so that you can have fresh thank yous and fresh approaches of gratitude for your donors. Finalize your social media schedule. So a lot of you are familiar with Facebook. For those that are not, again, we will have a social media training. But on your pages, you can preload content, right? You can plan a post I think up to like forever, but at least for the next couple of months, you can create content that will be pushed out a week or two. So you can start loading in some of these posts about your mission, about the Unselfie, about inviting people to the program. And then about 3 or 4 weeks prior to the day of, as a former fundraiser, I think that one of the most important things that we can do for specific campaigns like this is find a donor who will provide a match. So maybe your goal for the day is $500. Do you have a major donor in your database that will match a $200 gift? And if your goal is $5,000, do you have a donor in your network that will match a $1,000 gift? Find out who those folks are and see if they will lead the way and make that challenge. Customize your email templates from the Communications Toolkit and continue posting on social media. Week 2, have your donor data link. So here's what a donor data link is. You will receive your donor information. I think I mentioned this on the website part. But you will receive your donor information in a link that will then populate in real time and populate to an Excel document. Only you as the organization will have access to your donors. Okay? So this is where you're going to get email information, address information, and how much that donor gave. If you have a thank you or acknowledgement ambassador, you can have them set up for the day to send immediate emails to folks that have donated, say, Sally, thank you so much, and then that language that you've already created that says, thank you for joining the mission to make sure that all children are safe in their communities, et cetera, et cetera. Here's what your gift did today. Thank you, blank, either board member, executive director, or somebody like that. So have that ready. Excuse me. Finalize your day of itinerary. So your day of is going to include how many times are you going to post on Facebook? What kind of invitational email are you going to send the day of? Is your nonprofit going to be somewhere where you can take pictures and celebrate? Well, how are you going to celebrate philanthropy that is happening in your community? Make sure that week that you're touching base with all the board members that you've invited. That 8 weeks ago you said this is a great program. Will you join me? And then the day of, I think the biggest thing that I will impress is please remember to thank your donors. Thank them for accomplishing the goal, whether your goal was I want to get 20 donors today. They all helped you cross finish lines, not just with the Give Local program, not just with Montana Gives in your community, but they're helping you cross the finish line because they're partnering hand in hand and saying, I love you enough that I'm going to donate and we will join hand in hand to make your mission happen in your community. How are you going to thank your donors? Make sure, here I said thank you, use you. You have helped us do this. Because of you, we can now spay and neuter 10 animals. Because of you, we can now make sure that our after-school programs survive. So make sure that you are very focused on how to thank your donor. And remember that all of this can be accomplished. A great campaign plan that identifies your achievable goals will be the best tool that your organization has. Remember that your donors want to support you. Invite them into this great program. And remember that the Montana Community Foundation and your community convener are here to help you. If there is something that you have thought of that is not in the toolkit resource library, please email me or call me. We will figure out how to support you. Our goal as a state is to raise $1 million, but we also know that that means we're raising dollars for the communities of Montana and for our nonprofits that are doing really important work in our community. Our upcoming webinars are in 2 weeks, hosted by Give Local America. You're going to learn a lot about how to utilize Facebook and Twitter. If you are a beginner on Facebook, this is a great place for you to just spend an hour. And then in the next couple of weeks, we're going to take out that 8-week check plan and make sure that we know how our committees are working and we know how the next month is going to work for us for success. Those you can register all on the toolkit page online on the montanagives.org website. Under the toolkit page, I have hyperlinked all of the webinar registration pages. And that's what I have for you today. So I will go ahead and open up to questions. Thank you for your participation. My contact information is on this screen. Contact your local community convener. I'm really, really excited to bring Montana Gives to 12 different communities in Montana this year. I think localized and providing the different platform of online giving is really key to be able to expand our localized philanthropy. So at this point, I'll open up to questions. And remember to unmute your line is *7. Okay, great. Well, this webinar has been recorded. I will post it under the toolkit webpage for the conveners that are online today. Know that you can share this with folks that are interested in knowing how to get started. I want to remind you about the webinars coming up, March 24th and March 22nd. I know that's 2 in 1 week. The March 22nd is by our national umbrella, giving a social media training. And then March 24th, which is in just 2 weeks, we're going to be talking about how to maximize the last 4 weeks of your nonprofit campaign. All right. Thanks for participating, and call me if you have any questions.
Thank you. Please stand by.